to be guided by the science. We have to remember the basic facts. First, what we're seeing now is not an outbreak or an epidemic of Ebola in America. We're a nation of more than 300 million people. To date, we've seen 3 cases of Ebola diagnosed here. The man who contracted the disease in Liberia came here and sadly died. The 2 courageous nurses who were infected while they were treating him. Our thoughts and prayers are with them, and we're doing everything we can to give them the best care possible. Now, even 1 infection is too many. At the same time, we have to keep this in perspective. As our public health experts point out, every year thousands of Americans die from the flu. Second, Ebola is actually a difficult disease to catch. It's not transmitted through the air like the flu. You cannot get it from just riding on a plane or a bus. The only way that a person can contract the disease is by coming into direct contact with the bodily fluids of somebody who is already showing symptoms. I've met and hugged some of the doctors and nurses who've treated Ebola patients. I've met with an Ebola patient who recovered right in the Oval Office, and I'm fine.
As is the standard practice for this program, we're going to be honest, maybe a little more brutally honest than some of you are comfortable with, but therein lies the reason why we seek to root out the truth in these issues and deliver them without fear of being criticized for being one-sided or partisan. Many of you don't like Barack Obama. Plenty of you actually despise the man. And there are a few of you who likely wouldn't mind if he caught Ebola from one of those people he hugged. You'd never admit it out loud, but you've thought about it, and that's your prerogative. It may not be something I or anybody else may agree with, but in the end, it is your choice. You don't trust him. You might even follow those who believe he's nothing more than a socialist sympathizer here to destroy the American way of life. But there are some of you who are not of the extreme, those of you who may even believe he is not lying in every syllable and is perhaps telling the truth from time to very rare time, and those are also opinions I'll respect. In this case, when it comes to the Ebola crisis currently enveloping America from every seeming corner and every opinion, he's right. This is not an epidemic. We are not embroiled in a flashpoint that has reached the level of perhaps wiping out our very existence. Though it were to some manner, perhaps rid us of any Real Housewives franchise, we might just bid it a quiet thank you. Ebola in America is not at the level of threatening every single person in every single home. And it is not something to be used by hateful, narcissistic, pathetic cretins to use as a weapon for the sake of creating ratings points and bringing attention to their contemptible and loathsome attempts to make use of a potential killer disease for the purpose of being nothing more than a preening jackass. For instance, when a flight attendant recently refused to hang up the coat of an Army Ranger, witness the insulting and twisted manner in which some would use that to their promotional advantage.
So what should happen to Miss Not-So-Friendly Skies? The one who snubs an Army Ranger who she says is not first class. The one who yells at passengers who offer to give up their first class seat. Ma'am, I don't know what your name is, and I hope I never find out, because not only do you have no class, you have no honor. And you know what? As U.S. Air investigates the role of this flight attendant, I have an idea. I'll be kind. She shouldn't lose her job. She should not lose her job. She should stay in the employ of U.S. Air, in maintenance, cleaning toilets, on all flights coming in from West Africa.
It's not funny. It's not even slightly amusing. It's detestable, reprehensible, and the sign of someone who would use any human tragedy for their own advantage. It serves only to wag the tongue of those who live in a similar world and would think nothing of profiting on the death of others to make a buck. We talk about the Ebola story here on this show and in many fashions, but never have we chosen to trade on death and misery for the purpose of screaming, "Look at me!" We've chosen to be fair down the middle and not seek to stir the pot and panic of controversy others seem determined to ply for their own partisan purposes. Instead of trying to be funny and in course, being part of the problem instead of the solution. To paraphrase a mantra of those who tell jokes for a living, comedy is hard. Being a babbling fool is easy. And there's one prime example of the babbling fool, and that is telling it like it is. Next hour here on MidPoint, the country that might finally actually be helping in the fight against ISIS with the terrorists on their doorstep. And General Wesley Clark has his own ideas on how we must prepare for the next war against America. That and more coming up here on MidPoint, where every day we question everything.